Yeah, just to start off, I mean, it's been, I think the other guys really had a great approach. Yesterday really just kind of challenged guys as we got into practice, into the practice week. To have just focus on improvement, and it's something we talk about all the time. Are you willing to fight for your improvement? Coming off the game Saturday, sure, all of them as well as every coach, probably got a lot of positive text messages. Feel a little bit better. You accomplished the first step, but none of us signed up for one step. It's about the continued growth as you progress through a season. And can you go and be better than what you've been? And I thought yesterday it's probably one of our best practices we've had throughout. Today there were a few moments where I didn't quite like the intensity in every period like it needed to be, and so guys got challenged, they got addressed, and it's an opportunity for us to grow through what we need to be as we continue to push forward. But this is a team that is a competitive team, and I believe in what they who they are and what they're all about, and it's just the constant edge. That is only one person can choose to go be great, and you gotta be willing to make that choice for yourself. And I've got a lot of belief in the potential of this team, and as we continue to grow, I think we can achieve great things. But right now it's just about the day. It's about the rep. It's about the one opportunity. And I thought yesterday absolutely accomplished that. Today we had some inconsistencies, and so we have to get that corrected. But overall throughout this week with the 2 days of pads, I thought it was very productive, and you guys are continuing to push for that improvement. So you do have announcement that Randy Pittman will be out this week. You'll probably, if you hear for the next couple, you'll see what it all looks like. He was dealing with an injury there early in camp, and was able to kind of manage that through for the Alabama game. But he'll be out for it'll be a short period of time. But he will be out for this week, which will open the door opportunity. Continue to see the guys, Amari, Landon, being able to see, with Landon, excited about we get him back into full effect, and Nolan, and then Marquiston, who played pretty good about the other day. So that's going to be a great opportunity for those guys, and I know Randy will be back here very soon, continuing to help our football teams. So with that being said, I'll take some questions.
First one will be Chris.
Randy played through what he's dealing with to play in the Alabama game. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean he got himself to where he needed to be to play at the to be able to give everything that he had, and so yes.
I know you speak glowingly of him, but for his performance to be as good as it was, knowing he's probably not as healthy as he could be.
He did a great job in preparing himself. I thought that he played at a high level. He's a really incredible competitor, and you felt his physicality. You had a couple big catches there throughout, kind of putting us in position in 2 drives. And so he's a guy that is really he has the mentality, he's got the heart, and then that competitive spirit, which really you kind of sets him at a high level. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he sure plays like it. And so I've been pleased with his progression, and now to be able to for him to get back to full 100%, I think it's going to be great for all of us, and be working through that process.
Liam, you mentioned opening the doors for some young guys. Would Chase maybe get a look at tight end, or is the plan to keep him at receiver?
Yeah, I mean Chase is we were a pretty good amount of 12 personnel there the other day. I thought it was good for the plan. And ultimately as we continue to move forward, we're going to be able to utilize a lot of different personnel groupings in what we do. And so Chase has great versatility, but I love what I'm seeing from him out there at the receiver position. I think if we need to get him back into that, there's enough versatility of what we can do and how we can do it. But I'm really pleased with his progress.
Brendan.
I know you talked about, the Desir brothers the other day. Just in general, there was a handful of freshmen, redshirt freshmen, guys who had played bigger roles than they ever have before. In general, how do those collective young guys
thought they did a really good job, and, you know, as you sit there and you see, you know, freshmen step on the field, and, you know, guys that, you know, maybe even play just sparingly, you know, guys that redshirted last year that came in and you felt their confidence, you felt, you know, the speed, the physicality. I mean, they didn't, you know, they absolutely look like they belong. And, you know, we've got a couple other guys that I think are pushing, you know, right there at the edge to be able to make that same type of impact. And I know I mentioned earlier in the year, you know, probably could have, you know, 8, 10 guys that are true freshmen that have a chance to be that. And so, you know, I'm really looking forward to that whole group continuing to take those positive steps.
When we talked to Makai yesterday and we asked him about his touchdown, the first thing he pointed out to was the blocking downfield from Deuce. You talked about his off the ball involvement. There seems to be kind of a collective selflessness within your group right now. Have you felt that, and have you seen that throughout practice?
Yeah, I mean, I like the, you know, the mentality our guys have. I mean, there's not a receiver or running back, you know, tight end, you know, there's not one at the position that doesn't want the ball. I mean, every one of them wants the ball. And, you know, as you sit there and you go through it, it's appreciation of the things of what it is to play winning football. You know, plenty of guys can have a nice highlight and, you know, you'll feel good about, you know, posting a highlight, but what are you doing when the ball's not in your hands? What are you doing whenever it's, you know, when you gotta go do a little bit of dirty work to help, you know, Florida State win? And I thought that was something that showed up throughout the course of the game. I mean, you saw some, you know, I mentioned Randy had one of the hits of the game, you know, that, you know, for whatever the result of the play was, you know, it was still, I mean, that establishes mentality. You know, they remember that. And, you know, and I thought we saw that fight, that push, that effort with and without the ball. And, you know, guys understand the importance of those roles. And so, you know, it's something that we want collectively. I think that's something you watch, you know, even defensively, you know, to the point of contact, or are you away from it, or, you know, but are you still pursuing? Are you still chasing? Are you still giving everything you have while doing your responsibility? But, you know, I don't want guys sitting around, you know, waiting for somebody else to make a play. I want to see guys go and do what they're supposed to do to be able to get that you know, achieved. And so, yeah, I think it was positive on really both sides and how guys were able to go through that.
Tyra?
I saw you mentioned yesterday that you've been able to get back over to the hospital some this week. Just how are the players and coaches? How's everybody dealing with this now?
I mean, it's you know, it's a lot. I'm not going to say it's not. I mean, I try to give the players a daily update. You know, I talked to Ethan's dad this morning. I'm trying to just check on him, check on Ethan. You know, just you know, I was able to go by yesterday, and for a short period of time, you know, just was, you know, limited visitation, but, you know, get a chance just to be there even for just a handful of minutes. I mean, it was you know, it's good to be with him, and he's still in stable condition, and he's, like I said, we're going through the process, and he's got all things that are in front, and, you know, I mean, we're absolutely praying for him every day, and just trying to be there for our players too. Yes, it's one thing on the field, but it's also, you know, off the field. Just it's one of their brothers and guys that they deeply care about, and, you know, just kind of working through, just part of the tragedy of what it is.
All right.
You guys had a lot of recruits there last weekend. Was that? I mean, I imagine it's as good as you could ask for in terms of the reactions. Have you noticed any changes in, like, people reaching out or anything like that since that game? Like, what do you feel? I know you can't speak specifically, but
Yeah, no, I mean, it's I think it opens some eyes, you know, and there's, you know, what I like is the ones that, you know, the ones that beforehand, you know, they had seen some part of the process, whether it's spring, summer, whenever they were here, and, you know, the confidence that they had and what this could be, and, you know, just obviously the way that we spoke of, you know, the first game, and that's really what all has been accomplished in the first game, and we got to go continue to be all that we are as a team. And then it definitely shocks some, and, you know, like I say, I mean, there's been some phone calls that have been made, and some phone calls that have been received, and phone calls that have, you know, that have been made, that, you know, I'm excited about, you know, just continued progression, because you can hear a lot of it, you know, as you know, with new faces, new coaches, you know, new players, you know, you can hear a lot. And one of the things that the guys liked is, saw a lot of freshmen. They saw a lot of freshmen. They got a chance to go and that were prepared and ready to play early. And, you know, obviously as recruit, you wanna be able to go to a place that, I mean, you have a chance to make an impact, and, you know, the guys came in and they earned that, and, so it's, I think they saw it all.
One more.
Alright, one more.
There's so
Yeah,
much,
sleep.
we make so much about the transfers because they're new, but the development of the guys like Ashland and some of those guys that have been in the program and now seem to be taking this big step, just how gratifying that, how excited are you about those guys?
I mean, it's great, you know, I mean, you can go through, you know, a lot of guys on defense specifically that really, you know, have grown up. I mean, you look at the linebacker core, I mean, Blake had a couple great, you know, I thought Blake played one of his best games, you know, didn't play just a ton of snaps, but, you know, that, as you saw as the game progressed, I mean, he got in, he's playing fast, playing confident, you know, and then, you know, that's gonna continue to grow, you know, Blake, Juice, you mentioned, you know, Ashland coming in and seeing him really growing and, you know, who he is, what he's about. Jerome Rawls, you know, did some great things that, you know, really excited about. You know, Daniel Lyons, I thought played at a high level for what, you know, for where, you know, he's been and where he's continuing to grow through. I mean, and there's a list of, you know, guys all over the field on, you know, really both sides. Mekhi Danzig coming in and, you know, having those critical plays. I mean, that's something that encourages me, you know, for just the growth throughout the program. And yes, you know, you got some guys that come in that, you know, bring experience and they bring, you know, just a great compliment to what was here, and then obviously what these guys are able to accomplish here at Seminoles.
Alright, last one will be Brendan. It seemed like James Williams' role maybe shifted during the course of the game. He still was really productive as a pass rusher. So what was the messaging to him during the game? If make an assumption some of the run stuff wasn't as strong as he would have liked, I don't know if that's incorrect.
No, I mean, you know, he actually did some good things. There was, you know, obviously some areas where we all, you know, get to continue to grow in it, but, you know, I've been really pleased with James. And I mean, he's a guy that comes to work every day and, you know, brings the right mentality, you know, thought process. I mean, you know, as we got out of that game, you know, you felt his presence, you know, and being able to, be disruptive, you know, there in the, as a pass rusher, and, you know, force the quarterback off the spot, and, you know, still, you know, a couple of those that we, you know, that we gotta finish on, but, you know, he came back out here, and he's a guy that even his last, you know, both days, you know, yesterday and today, you may have felt, I felt his presence of pushing to go get better, and so, you know, he's gonna be a great player. I really believe that, just because his mindset, his approach, and, you know, continuing to emerge throughout the, you know, the role that he has. And I think even with what that looked like on Saturday, some of that was for him, and then some of that was because guys that, you know, got opportunities did great with opportunities, and, you know, they to be able to have the depth, to be able to roll guys, and you'll keep guys fresh for certain situations. I mean, that was good.
Alright, thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Thanks a lot.